So there's a CNBC article I just read before I mounted up on the bike just now in the house. And on that article, it said, you know, Pentagon officials say like dire, horrific result of an attack, you know, on Russia if Russia attacks or invades in Ukraine. You know, that is extremely polarizing, again, galvanizing idea here, and thematic, extremely dangerous and reckless communication, saying that there's going to be a horrific response from NATO and the Pentagon. You know, that sounds like nuclear weapons. That sounds like biological, chemical weapons. And, you know, I hate to break it to some of you guys, but as you heard me Freudianly slip the idea earlier yesterday, saying that, you know, are we in World War III or World War IV approaching? Well, I mean, a lot of people in intelligentsia, people who research this stuff, consider this to be World War IV, because World War III was the Cold War, and elements of the Cold War related to nuclear exchange and expansion of, you know, the Soviet Empire, as well as the Allies and whatever you want to call us, the Anglo-American Empire, right? As we approach what I estimate, and a lot of other people in the intelligentsia, as I'm saying, agree with this idea of World War IV, you know, we have already seen elements of that with the COVID attack, right? So COVID for sure was a biological weapon, and our government, rogue elements within our government, we're working with rogue elements within corporations, internationally speaking, to create, you know, deadly pathogenic bioweapons with our presumed enemies, with China, you know. And as one of my previous videos I mentioned, in Almaty, Kazakhstan, the CDC and, you know, DTRA, right, defense threat reduction or reaction, defense threat reaction at a biological level, was in strategically locations where our enemies are, right, in Russia, Kazakhstan, right next to the Eastern Soviet bloc. And as you look at where the location of those biological DTRA facilities were, they are all along the Eastern Soviet bloc. They are all along encircling China with biological shit, right? And so, as we pivot away from COVID, I'm just saying, guys, don't walk away 100% from this idea of COVID, man, you know, being dead and gone. Dude, COVID was the first salvo of identifying who's in on it. And what I mean by that is, from an administrative level, which countries are part of it, which sheriffs are not, which legislatures, which governors, which, you know, organizations, and which corporations, which pharmaceutical groups, which you know, banking institutions, right? Who was going to stand up against the COVID tyranny was identified through COVID, right? And so, like any good psyop that they would use, they use both sides of the quarter, right? They use both sides of the coin, both sides, heads and tails. Yes, the depopulation agenda aspect, the rollout of mRNA technology, the normalization of lab leak, the galvanization of people who will believe in the narrative or no longer believe in the narrative, and the identification of those people who would not go along with the furtherance of this type of attempt by the state to usurp individuals, right? Because, I mean, just look, as a thought experiment, just look at the wake, man, of what happened with big tech, right? Certain elements of big tech are 100% on board with shutting down certain aspects of speech. They've already identified who's in power, how to do it, They've already perfected their method. So the next time, as we approach World War IV, and that's the point of this discussion, as we approach World War IV, dude, they already know who's going to shit talk what they're trying to do and what they're trying to sell us. And those people will be immediately removed from the general discourse and conversation.